How's it going, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Schmoedown Central. I'm your host, Brad Thomas, breaking down the week that was in the movie trivia Schmoedown. It was Outlaw week here on the Schmoedown, participating in both matches this week, and had to wear something in his honor, had to wear the Outlaw shirt here, just to support him here. And we had two giant matches, one of which was the Anarchy team tournament match, the end of round number 2, of course, and then you had the big title fight happening on Friday. The Beast taking on Rocha. Can he take the belt from Rocha and become a two-time champ, or will Bibbiani be able to defend the championship? Let's see what happened starting with Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we had the Founding Fathers taking on KOrruption. KOrruption, of course, coming in with the 1-0 record comprised of Mike Kalinowski and Chance Ellison, while the Founding Fathers coming in also with the 1-0 record, 1 knockout comprised of John Rocha and Dan Murrell. Round number 1 saw multiple lead changes with both teams playing up to par. John Rocha and Dan Murrell both doing great for the Founding Fathers, and Mike Kalinowski and Chance Ellison both doing well for, of course, KOrruption. For the round, John Rocha, Dan Murrell, Mike Kalinowski, and Chance Ellison all going 6 for 8, impressive on their parts, and KOrruption was able to actually tie the match on their final question, coming down from that 2-point deficit to end it by a score of 12-12 at the end of the first round. An impressive round 1 and a very entertaining one. Round number 2, KOrruption up first, spinning the category of action-adventure movies, and they take that category and do an impressive amount of damage in that round, going 6 for 6, getting a possible 11 out of 12 points, showing they know their stuff in this category, only having to go to multiple choice on one single question and extending that lead by a wide margin of 11 points. An impressive round number 2 for KOrruption to give KOrruption the 23-12 lead midway through round 2. Founding Fathers, though, they would respond with the category of horror movies, not a giant strength of theirs, but they do quite well for themselves, going 6 for 6. Dan Murrell leading the way in this one for the Founding Fathers, getting a possible 11 out of 12 points. Again, a very similar type round to KOrruption, having to go to multiple choice on that last question, but still managing to get that thing back to a tie. They didn't want to give up a potential steal of a 2-point value on that final one when they were uncertain of it. A smart play, in my opinion, to tie it up by a score of 23-23. Round number 3, KOrruption up first. First question came in the category of directors. Mike Kalinowski taking this question and gets that first question correct. The Founding Fathers up next. John Rocha deciding to take the category of dance movies, not a big strength of his, but gets that question correct. Question number 2, the 3-pointer. Chance Ellison taking this one for KOrruption and came in the category of crime movies, not able to find that correct answer. The Founding Fathers had a chance to take the lead here. Question number 2, Dan Murrell up in the category of sports movies, not a strength of Dan's, more of a strength of Rocha's. Maybe should have flip-flopped, hindsight of course 2020, and Dan Murrell unable to come up with that correct answer. So KOrruption, with their 5-pointer, can put the pressure on the Founding Fathers. Came in the category of Sandra Bullock movies, and KOrruption nailing that question, putting the pressure back on the Founding Fathers to hit their 5-pointer. Question number 3, their 5-pointer, coming in the category of rom-coms for the Founding Fathers, and John Rocha milking this one just a little bit and gets that question correct. A big guess, a big pull on his part, sending this one to overtime by a score of 30-30. One of the best games I've ever seen to this point. So it was time for sudden death overtime, and the first question was a controversial one, and it was the only one we had in this round. Dan Murrell unable to write down the answer in time. He knew the answer as David O. Russell, but was unable to write it down. Everyone else getting it correct. Chance Ellison, though, does spell David O. Russell incorrect, of course using the apostrophe there. But John Rocha ends up challenging this one, and in what was an apparent long discussion, KOrruption was still awarded the victory when we came back from that break. Mark Ellis explaining that, of course, they needed to have it written down in that time allotted so everyone had the fair chance, the same amount of time to write it down, think of the answer, write it down on, of course, the whiteboards there, and then verbalize the answer. John Rocha, of course, also upset about the O. Russell thing, but phonetically it was ruled correct. The same thing if it was a round 2 answer and they had spoken David O. Russell, you wouldn't have been able to see the punctuation there, hence it would have been ruled a correct answer. With all the controversy aside, KOrruption ends up taking this one and wins it by a score of 32-31. With victory, KOrruption improves to 2-0, while the Founding Fathers fall now to 1-1 with 1 knockout. KOrruption, they went 22 for 27 for 81%, an impressive game by them, and the Founding Fathers, they also had a very impressive game, going 21 for 27 for 78%. On the individual side of things, Mike and John both leading the way, going 8 for 10 for 80%. Chance Ellison, he went 7 for 10 for 70%, and Dan Murrell going 6 for 10 for 60%. Solid games by all our competitors, just coming down to that final sudden death controversial type of answer slash question but KOrruption ended up coming out on top. So tough go there for the Founding Fathers, ending on a challenge type of play there, but good on KOrruption, proving themselves as a formidable team. Chance and Mike moving on to round number 3. Excited to see them, how far they can go in this tournament, but a really emotional interview from the Founding Fathers, both Rocha and Murrell pouring it out on the line there, telling them how they feel, and then Rocha having being really down in the dumps, but then flipping it at the end, saying he's coming after the beast, and of course we got to see that on Friday there. But just, again, really great interviews, and a great job from Jen Sturger there as well, kind of conducting those. Good on her part as well. Just love this match. Start to finish, one of my favorite matches of the year. But let's get into what exactly went down on Friday when Rocha was able to hopefully rebound, but let's break that down right now. So on Friday, we had the 5-round championship match between William the Beast Bibbiani and John the Outlaw Rocha. Rocha coming in with the 10-6 record, looking to get 11 wins, 3 knockouts, ranked number 1, while Bibbiani coming in with the 5-4 record, 2 knockouts, looking to defend the championship. Round 1 was off and running right away, Bibbiani taking an early lead, only by 1 point, keeping that lead for the majority of the round, but both Bibbiani and Rocha playing their A game, and Rocha able to come back on the last question and tie it up. Bibbiani and Rocha both going 7 for 8, nearly perfect round for Bibbiani, but not able to do so. An impressive round for this championship title fight. Round number 2, Rocha up first, spinning in the category of the 90s movies, not a big strength of his, and he goes 3 for 4, getting possible 5 out of 8 points on the round. He did jump the gun on the 3rd question, probably thinking a bug's life with the grasshoppers there, but overall able to take the slight lead by a score of 12-7 midway through round 2. Bibbiani up next, spinning the category of horror movies, a big strength for him, and he proves why exactly that is. Going 4 for 4, getting a possible 7 out of 8 points, only having to go to multiple choice on 1 question. A big round for the Beast, not giving up steals, not giving Rocha any chance to steal, which now gave Bibbiani a 14-12 lead at the end of round 2. Round number 3, the betting round, coming in the category of Sly and Arnie movies. A tough question for them to answer. Bibbiani bets 2 points and loses those 2, while Rocha, he also bet 2 and gained the 2 points. A big monumental shift there and a big pull for the 4-point swing. At the end of the round, it was now 14-12 for Rocha, flipping the score on its head there. Round number 4 was the speed round, and Bibbiani proving that he's good in the speed round here. Bibbiani managing to get 4 of 4 questions that he decided to answer correct, while Rocha going 1 for 1 in the round. No misses here, good for both competitors, but Bibbiani now able to take the 1-point lead by a score of 16-15. On to the 5th and final round, Rocha down by 1, question number 1, getting the category of 90s movies, getting that question incorrect, again jumping the gun, not using the time to his advantage. Question number 2 coming in the category of classics, a decent pull there from Rocha, getting that question correct to now go up by a score of 18-16. Bibbiani, his first question, the 2-pointer, coming in the category of comedy movies, he gets that question correct to tie it back up. Question number 2 coming in the category of Cate Blanchett movies, and he was unable to get that question correct, sending it over to Rocha for his 5-pointer to go up by 5. And that 5-pointer came in the category of Jodie Foster movies, not a decent strength of Rocha's there, but a huge pull on Rocha's part, getting that question correct to put the pressure on the Beast, and the Beast, his 5-pointer to tie it up to send it to overtime, our second overtime match, potentially of the week there, getting the category of spy movies, and unable to come up with the correct answer, as Rocha now becomes a 2-time champion by a score of 23-18. Good on John Rocha, and now he will headline the Spectacular 3. With the victory, Rocha improves to 11-6 with 3 knockouts, the first competitor to get 11 wins, while Bibbiani, he falls to 5-5, 2 knockouts. Rocha going 14 for 17 for questions he was asked for 82%, while Bibbiani going 16 for 20 for 80% for questions he was asked. An impressive game by both competitors and one of the best matches of the year. So with that victory, John Rocha will headline the Schmoedown Spectacular 3, playing the winner of the singles tournament coming up here in just a little bit. Bibbiani, unfortunately, now will be out for the entire year, not able to participate in the singles tournament as one of the stipulations of this championship match, but Bibbiani will be back in the game at some point. And one of the best matches we've seen this year, one of the best weeks I think in the Schmoedown we've had this year. 2 incredible matches, and I'm very much excited to see Rocha defend this title, hopefully be able to come up with at least a title defense here. I've always been part of the Outlaw Nation, so hopefully he can continue to dominate in this league. And as for Bibbiani, again, impressive game, but just unable to hit those 3 and 5 pointers were really the difference makers in this matchup here. And of course, that big betting round 4-point swing, I think a very key moment there. But let's get into what's going to happen next week on the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. So next week on the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, we got Who's the Boss taking on KOrruption. This should be a very entertaining match. Ben Bateman and Mark Riley looking to continue their hot streak, taking on, of course, the team of KOrruption, Chance Ellison and Mike Kalinowski. This one will be a heated, exciting, entertaining one. Both teams have some big personalities, and both teams are on some sort of hot streak here, so again, a very exciting matchup. Then we also have another Anarchy team tournament match. The Odd Couple taking on the Harris brothers. Jeff Snyder, Mark Andrico looking to defeat Lon Harris and Jonathan Harris. The Odd Couple is, again, both these teams on great hot streaks. I think the money's still going to be on the Odd Couple. I think there's more well-rounded, but the Harris brothers proving people wrong last time out, beating, of course, Take the Cannoli. So again, it will be an exciting and interesting one to see, but I think the Odd Couple has a slight advantage. But again, the Harris brothers proved me wrong once, they might prove me wrong yet again. But as for our play of the week, that's got to be the 4-point swing betting round. John Rocha betting 2 points, Bibbiani betting 2 points, and Rocha coming out with the correct answer while Bibbiani lost those 2 points. A giant maneuver in the game, kind of setting the tone for what's to come. Although Bibbiani did bounce back, of course, with that great speed round, I think this 4-point swing was the difference maker and turning point in the matchup. As for our misplay of the week, a very tough one to come by, but I will go with that controversial last question of the team match. Dan Murrell unable to write down the question in time. Had he maybe come up with that in time, we might be looking at a different outcome for the match. Maybe had they not used one of the repeats earlier on, had Rocha potentially been milking it on that final question when he did get the Danny DeVito answer, maybe then he would have been able to repeat that question and then get that question correct. Again, not too sure exactly if this is a giant misplay because, again, it was just a time-sensitive thing, but that's what we're going with this week. But as you probably know, our player of the week is, of course, John the Outlaw Rocha, winning the title. First to 11 wins, first to have the belt twice and also the team titles, and the first to participate in the spectacular 3 years in a row. The Outlaw is on top of the Schmoedown yet again, proving it with 2 giant matches this week, although coming out on the losing end on one, but coming away with the title on the other. A great week for the Outlaw, and that's why he's our player of the week. So that's it for this episode of Schmoedown Central. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe for videos each week. Let me know all your thoughts on the play, misplay, player of the week, what your predictions are for next week, and what you think of the Outlaw and his great week in the Schmoedown. What do you think of the whole controversy? What's your take on it? Do you have a different take than mine? Do you agree with the call? Do you not agree with the call? Of course, everyone makes mistakes. If it was a mistake on the call, if it was a mistake, let me know all that, of course, in the comment section below. Love seeing the conversation there, and of course, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter at 94BradThomas or at Schmoedown to keep updated in the world of Schmoedown Central and, of course, my world as well. Thank you all for watching. A big week here on the Schmoedown and a big week here for Schmoedown Central. So let me know, again, all your thoughts. Tweet me, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and I'll talk to you next time on Schmoedown Central.